Welcome to episode 10 of the Ag and Culture Podcast. Mike, how you doing today?
Peachy Keen, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good deal.
Sounds like you guys had an eventful weekend here on the farm.
It's just, say a normal weekend on the farm, but it's always full of adventure.
So I heard something happened with a bull?
Yeah, yeah. So we've got a bull, right? We got cows, you got to have a bull. You got to procreate, and that's what he's here for. And yeah, he's about a 2-year-old bull. And so when Bo brought him over, it's his bull, our cows. And so he said, something's going to happen. This is the age in which they do. He's a bottle baby, bottle calf, beautiful bull, by the way, gorgeous bull. Hopefully we can show some pictures of him. We hand feed the guy every night, like literally taking potatoes, the kids feed him. He's just a big teddy bear that wants and he's hand fed every day. It's hilarious. Lets us scratch his ears and everything. But this weekend, last Friday, whatever, something set him off. He got outside of his pen, which he's done before, and I'm like, I'll get him back in, big lug. All it takes is a sack of potatoes, and he's going wherever he wants. But we were out moving something with a piece of equipment, and we put a barrel on a pallet, and he did not like the barrel. And bulls are supposedly colorblind. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was a blue barrel, and he did not like it. And he got that look in his eyes and started going ballistic, charging equipment, running us off. And we were just kind of laughing at first because we think it's a joke until Philip, who was driving the piece of equipment, got off and the bull picked him up. And Philip's, he's in shape. He's a really in shape guy. He's National Guard. Like if it could happen to anyone on this staff, it's good to happen to him. Not saying it would, but Philip just kind of, turned, took the bull by the horns.
Nice.
Literally. So this is like out of a movie, and the bull's throwing him and Philip's just kind of going for a ride, and he didn't throw him off, and Philip gets off, pushes back, goes in the shop. Well, bull didn't like that. So the bull's got him pinned in the shop, going from door to door, snorting, mooing, wanting to get into the doors. And I'm like, okay. So I'm hearing about this, and I'm coming down, and I see the bull eating sweet potatoes. And I'm like, all right, you big lug. I'm still not fully invested that this is going on. So I'm in my Jeep, and this is old farm Jeep, and he takes off after the Jeep. And I'm kind of laughing. And I'm like, all right, buddy, no way. So I'm like, oh, crap. He gets about 10 feet away, and I have to floor it to get away from him. And he's chasing full speed. He's madder than a hornet. So I pull over there to where I normally feed him. He ain't slowing down. So I floor it. I do a quick U-turn, and then I head into the lower field. And this is probably about a quarter mile now. He's chased me full speed.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, this is not going on. So the dumb thing I did was drive back by where Philip was to floor it to get out of there. So now he's back on Philip's scent. And then lo and behold, as he's mooing, he's getting his horn caught and netting and stuff like that. And it took about an hour and a half for him to calm down. And then, Bo gets here, and, Bo walks him back in the pen and walks him down and gets him back in the pen. But it was quite an episode. And I've not been chased by a bull in a Jeep. And Philip, I don't think, has been pinned in a shop. But
wow. Goodness gracious.
It was fun. It was exciting. And I was thoroughly glad it ended with peacefully.
Absolutely. You said the bull was peaceful before all this, though?
No, he's very peaceful now if you go out there. Huh? Yeah, he's a bull. He's ornery. He just does stupid stuff like flips his water over every day. They can be super thirsty, and he'll just go over there and throw the water in the air. And we pin it down with rebar and everything, but bulls are bulls. So, the unfortunate thing about that is Bo, who's really good at this and way more interesting in this stuff than I am. He's got a one strike policy on something like that. So Mr. Moo, the bull, is going to be sirloin and burger pretty soon.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's like, this is ag and culture, and that's part of the process and part of the life. You can't have animals that are going to do that, right? One strike policy. Absolutely. Especially as many kids as we've got coming out here and as people we got coming out here. And it's not only that, it's just like you don't want that genetic in your herd. And he is a good bull, but I think Joel Salatin and a lot of the other guys that are really popular on YouTube, and they all have a one strike policy, and we're going to take it from them that is the right way to go. And Bo said, yeah, it's just like we can't afford to have that type of behavior, whether it's from a dog, lack of production, or genetics from an animal. That's just part of the way of life on the farm.
Wow. Well, it sounds like it's a kind of a nature versus nurture thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely, he's a bull. Like, what are you going to do?
Can be super comatose for majority, and then just something sets it off.
Yeah. And I get it. I mean, he's out his pen, and piece of equipment goes by and set him off. But that was,
Well, it's natural. And speaking of natural, today's topic,
yep.
Smooth transition, right?
Smooth transition.
Today we're talking about all natural. We're doing our 3-part series on organic, all natural, and regenerative farming.
Mm-hmm.
So today, or last time we talked about organic when people see that on a label. Today, when people go to the grocery store and they see the buzzword, all natural, on food, what do they typically think it means?
Well, what they think it means and what it is may be two different things. So I'm hoping they're thinking that it's probably close to organic, which it should be, right? So it used to be that 90% of the constituents of the product were natural. Okay, not certified. Maybe they have a little bit of a preservative or something in there, and I'm just making stuff up, that is not natural, even though it says all. All doesn't mean all. All means, it used to be 90% or greater of the constituents of the food. So, that's where it depends on where it lies. But I don't think all natural is a legal claim, and it's not an enforceable claim anymore. So, I just read, we talked about organic as a legal term. Mm-hmm. And so I just read over the last week that made in America is now going to be super enforced. So because it is a legal term doesn't mean it's being enforced, or is it an enforceable term. And I think all natural, just for the most part, is a marketing gimmick.
Gotcha.
So sugar is natural. So a strawberry jelly can be all natural and have jelly and sugar. But is it really like healthy? No. So you got to understand, you got to read the label, you got to know what you're looking at.
Interesting. So is obviously organic, is that label is sort of regulated by the FDA and governing bodies. Is all natural regulated?
No, it is not regulated. And my understanding is that it could be and should be, but it is not regulated. So natural products, natural foods. So I think it's more along the lines of, you need to know the brand that you're buying from, and you need to have a trustworthiness with that brand, or you need to know the source of the food, or really dial into the ingredients.
So if it's not a regulated term, how are companies able to use it on their label?
I mean, it's just like anything else. You start getting into subjectiveness of human nature, and somebody, like you may have an opinion about one thing and I have an opinion about another, but since there's no hard and fast rules, we're now going on what our opinion and what we think it should be, right? And it's not necessarily best practices, but that's why I say, you could find brands that I'm sure claim to be all natural that are not, right? We see companies all the time that claim to be one thing that they aren't. So I think you really just have to dial into it, because, P.T. Barnum said it best, there's a sucker born every minute. And that's what marketing people sometimes prey on. And whether it's the marketer or the formulator or the CEO or somebody driving economics, you just got to be mindful of the stuff. And I'm not saying to be skeptical of everything, but be skeptical enough to read the label and make an informed decision for yourself about if it's natural, because all natural doesn't mean healthy. Sugar is natural, but it is certainly not healthy. Arsenic is natural, but it'll kill you. Right? Mm-hmm. But there's arsenic in wood. Trees, plants, they all have arsenic in it. There's arsenic in the ground in minute trace amounts. Okay? So my point is there's a lot of things that are natural. Doesn't mean it's good for you or you should ingest it.
So you've given us the example already of that strawberry jam, right? Are there other products or other examples you can give of things that have been labeled all natural that when you look at the label may not necessarily be?
Oh, there's. I mean, we'd be endless. We could probably go into a grocery store and and just start going to town and scanning things and seeing what their ingredients are. So, we talk about that as I'm a really big fan. My house, we use the Yucca app on it. It's a simple app that you can download probably for free. I'm sure there's plenty of other apps that are really good, but you scan the label, and if it's in the database, it'll pop up and it'll be red, green, or yellow, to saying like what's in it and what's healthy or not. So you can read to see what is not natural, what is not good, what is bad. So if there's dyes and stuff in there, Yucca app will flag it. It also flags sodium. It doesn't like high sodium contents, to which, we all love our cheese and salsa and stuff like that. So I'm going to eat my sodium and ignore that part of it, but also enough to know that, hey, we're talking salts here. To me, salts are fine. Because I don't have hypertension or anything like that. So it is okay for me to have salts.
So again, this is sort of a base question. If a label says all natural on it, can it still have synthetic ingredients in there?
For sure.
So if a customer or a consumer goes into a grocery store and they see that all natural label, what should be the first thing that they go to sort of verify if the food is healthy, if they don't have access to the Yucca app or something?
It goes down to education. Turn it over, read the back of the label. So you're going to see, in a perfect world, this is like kumbaya, we're all eating healthy stuff, which doesn't happen. We live in America, everything's fast, things are processed. You got to dive into it, right? So but you also, it's your health. You are what you eat. You need to learn to read labels. So if there's a really long set of ingredients on it, that's when you start to go, okay, maybe I should question this. You start reading words that you don't know or pronounce that are really long. That's possibly a red flag. But there's a lot of stuff out there too that is not bad for you that has really long words. Like there's 100 different types of sugars, and they all get labeled differently on there. Fructose, for example, is sugar from fruit. And it's not going to be on there as sugar. It's going to be on there as fructose. Well, okay. So it's processed, but it's still sugar from fruit. You start debating things like that.
Gotcha. Well, as we wrap up this, we've covered now the two buzzwords. We've covered organic. We've covered all natural. If you're just giving someone a general piece of advice, what is the one thing you would tell them when they go into the grocery store and they see any of these labels?
Don't just blindly trust the label. Educate yourself and don't just jump out at what the front of the label says. Go to the ingredients and start to understand the ingredients and what it means and what it entails.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today. When we come back, we're going to be talking about regenerative farming. Mike, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
See you in the next one.
Hasta la pasta.